Hey everyone, and hello Isa. Isa is part of the first cohort of interns here at Arcade. He joined and built some cool agents here during the summer. So Isa, tell me about yourself, about the agent that you built.
Yeah, for sure. So, hi everybody. My name is Isa. I'm a junior at Bellevue High School, and I built a couple of agents at Arcade this past summer. Had a lot of fun doing it. The type of agents I built one to help me process my email better. So, reading my email, getting all the content, just a daily input, output, and then sending drafts, sending emails to like people like my dad, to Alex. So yeah, that was one of my agents I built, and then I also built a deep research agent to help me analyze different companies, what their customer base is, where their customers are, like why they join that company, and stuff like that. So I had a lot of fun doing it. The learning process was obviously because I haven't used these type of libraries a lot before. So it was just a little bit like a couple days of just learning how to use everything, but from there it was pretty easy to.
Awesome. So let's watch for a couple of minutes Isa's demo, and then we'll come back.
Hi. So this is the agent I've been working on for the past couple of weeks, and I'm really excited to show it. So let's get started. The goal of this agent is pretty straightforward. It's basically just to be your personal assistant. I have currently given it access to my Gmail, my GitHub, and my Google Calendar, and Reddit as well, I believe. So we're just going to try out Google Calendar and Gmail, because those are the two most important things I want to get out of this. For example, if I say, what's in my Gmail? Or even better, what's in my inbox? Let's give the LLM a little trick here. Does it know? Does it want to go to Outlook? Does it want to go to Gmail? Does it know where to go? And it should spit something back out relating to Forkable, Alex being out of office, and probably Reddit because I just authorized it. Okay. So yeah, so literally, okay. So it's accurate. That's good. That's good. Um, So it can check your Gmail, which is good. It can give you a quick summary about what it is. It'll give you the date. It'll give you some content as well, which is pretty nice. So this, I didn't even have to open up Gmail. I didn't even have to go and check it myself. I could just tell it like what's in my inbox, and it'll go do that. Which is pretty cool. But let's see here. What's on my calendar for today? So that's that Google Calendar. Then should bring up some stuff about deploying. So deploying the research agent and recording this demo. So that's pretty good. And yeah, so that's pretty much what that looks like. And I'll show you the code. So this is the actual agent built using LangGraph and Arcade. So you can see we got the toolkits here, which is pretty nice. You can add or remove them as you please. So for example, if I don't want Slack, I just bam, take that out. Or if I'm not a coder and I don't want GitHub, I can just take that out. Pretty straightforward, pretty nice, pretty simple. And yeah, this is pretty much just making the graph. This is making the agent. Then the web server is feeding information from the front end to the back end and back end to the front end. So for example, the prompt I just submitted to Emily, it ran through this, gave it to agent. Agent started looking at the prompt. It was going through my inbox, looking at my email, and summarizing everything. It was fed back to web server, and then the web server fed it back to script. So the front end here, script, is obviously submitting and loading input and output. So that's JavaScript right there. CSS, pretty straightforward. It was just a style. It just made the web page look halfway decent. And then the HTML was just formatting pretty much. So yeah, that's my agent. I had a lot of fun doing it. Hit a couple of bottlenecks here and there, but overall it was pretty good. Looking to add a couple of features like adding or removing toolkits based off of what the user decides, and trying to create a scheduled version of this.
So that was awesome, Isa. I want you to tell me a little bit more about what you knew before you built this demo and what you know now after building this demo.
Yeah, for sure. So I started coding when I was, I think, 9 or 10, and I was just doing like really basic, like graphic coding with Turtle, and just really easy stuff like that. Just figuring out variables, if-else statements. It all starts there for every programmer. But then I kind of started ramping up my projects a little bit, and then we started building calculators. I rebuilt Excel using Java in my school, so that was pretty fun. But one key thing I was really missing before I started using Arcade was the ability to kind of use external libraries. So you think like Flask, for example, is an external library that you have to download and you have to learn like all the functions and stuff like that. So I didn't really have all that experience. I was used to just naturally coding without importing anything. But so yeah, that was definitely like the first thing I had to do was learn how do I actually use this library so that I can build something meaningful to me at least, or to anybody who's using whatever I built. And I would say the learning curve there obviously was a little bit of a challenge because it's just such a new thing. But I would assume like now that I know a little bit about Arcade and how to use its Python library, I feel really comfortable going and like reading documentation of other libraries and stuff like that. But I will say like using Arcade for the first time had to learn like what was it about, how to use it in my code. But from there on out, it was fairly straightforward. Like then I could, get the toolkits, use them properly, debug really easily. And yeah, that was pretty much it. Yeah, so I was just gonna say, like, in terms of the actual learning process, I would say the first couple of days were just spent reading the documentation, figuring out how I can actually use it in an agent code with like LangGraph, stuff like that. But yeah. And then once I learned that, I was able to implement.
Awesome. So I wanted to kind of dive deeper into using Arcade. Like, how was your experience using Arcade? What was easy to do? What was hard about the product?
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. So once I figured out how to use it, I would say it is fairly straightforward. I mean, the documentation is there to help out with these kind of things, like figuring out how do you import a tool manager, how do you get this to work with a different orchestration framework, like for example, like CrewAI or something. I used LangGraph because I mean it's just like they also had some videos on how to use it, and I would say my overall experience was really good just because it was really simple to use once I understood it. It's like I was able to really easily import everything I needed. I was able to make it connect together inside the actual code. So getting the tool manager, initializing the tools, then calling the tools. It sounds a little bit complicated, but in reality, it's really just like a couple lines of code to make everything work together. In that sense, obviously, if you have like a different orchestration framework, it's going to be a little bit different. But at least with the LangGraph library, Arcade LangGraph library, I was able to write the Gmail agent in under like 125 lines, I think is what it was. So yeah, I mean, I would say I had a pretty fun time using it as well because it was my first time doing anything like that. But yeah, it was. I would say it's fairly easy to use. It's understandable, and it does get the job done very well.
Right. So I want you to put this in context of like the length of the internship because you learned quite a lot of things. How many weeks was this?
Yeah, so I was at Arcade for probably 3.5 weeks. I want to say 3.5 weeks. Really, the first couple of days was just learning, but from there, then started building the Gmail agent. So I would say the first week was just learning and then building the Gmail agent. But in the second week, that's when I started really ramping things up. That's when I started building the deep research agent. So I had to kind of figure out how do I get the web scraping tools. And for me, it was like, oh, I'll just use Firecrawl. I'll just use the Firecrawl toolkit to like crawl the websites, and then the AI can just extract information. So yeah, and then that was week 2, just building a deep research agent. And then week 3, I figured once I was able to build the back end for both projects, I might as well choose one and build the front end and make it like kind of like an application, right? The first week was just building the Python. I didn't have the HTML, CSS, JavaScript, anything like that. So I had to spend, I think, a week learning HTML because I was like, I didn't know that before either. But it turned out to be pretty straightforward, I would say.
So I want to also know. So you were coding already before you came to the internship. It seems like I saw the evolution of you building the backend and then integrating with cron jobs and the UI, all of these, and it was like, oh my god, I wish I was learning that fast when I was your age. So basically, what I'm thinking now is like, what kind of applications were you imagining before, and what kind of applications are you imagining now that you can build with tools like LangGraph and Arcade and so on?
Yeah. So before, when I was talking to Sam in like March, April about this internship, in my head I was kind of thinking like, oh, it'd be really cool to have like a AI system for literally everything on my computer, like from like Gmail, Google Calendar, maybe my Teams for school. Like maybe I can get like some assignment information or something without having to go and check it myself. Just like a all-in-one kind of package. So that's what I had in mind. And then when I got to internship on the first day, I was like, okay, it's going to be a little bit more complicated for me to get all of that into a single application. So I'm just gonna like shrink it, reduce it down just a little bit so that it's feasible in a couple weeks. So then at that point, I was like, what are the core features I need? I need it to manage my Gmail, manage my Google Calendar, and maybe like a GitHub or maybe even Reddit, like something like that. So I just tried implementing those features and it worked out pretty nicely. The timing of it was pretty straightforward. Like it played out really nice. And I was productive with it as well. So I wasn't like doing nothing. I was actually like learning it and then coding it little by little. Um, so yeah, I think it worked out in that sense where I didn't have an enormous amount of workload, but I obviously had enough to keep me busy. And then I'd say in terms of going forward, I would actually like to kind of build my own toolkit for this application called Game Maker. If you don't know what Game Maker is, it's literally what it sounds like. It's like an application to build like a 2D game. Like maybe you have like want to recreate Mario Brothers or something like that. We're using that in school actually, and our teacher was like, "You guys should totally use AI to help you build the game." And the way he introduced it to us was like, you guys should use Copilot to generate the code and do that stuff. I was like, it'd be nice for Copilot to do that, but creating the characters and creating like the sprites, which are like the images in the game maker thing, is something I still have to do. So it would be really nice if I could get an AI to just create the objects and get like a multi-agent system going there. I don't know, something like that would be um probably really beneficial, not just to me but everybody who's taking the class, because then it just gets way easier. uh yeah, exactly. So that's what I had in mind. Like it'd be really cool to have that type of toolkit. But while I was at Arcade, I think halfway through, Renato was able to get the Outlook and Teams, or somebody was able to get the Outlook and Teams toolkits loaded up, and I was like, I'm gonna be using that pretty heavily for school because I get all my emails through Outlook and all the assignments are posted in Teams. So I can just like create a single agent that can access both. And then from there, it's like I don't really need to go and check it manually. I can just ask it like, what's new in my email and Outlook, or what's new in what new assignments do I have? Do I have any past due ones? Any messages from teachers or anything like that for winter break or like Thanksgiving, stuff like that. So that's what I have in mind. And I'm definitely going to implement that second part at some point, the Outlook and Teams one. It's just like first week school is just always really hectic. So didn't have, but yeah, I'll definitely get on that like sometime this week for sure. Cause it'd be so valuable to have. just as a student. It'll help me automate it.
So,
Yeah.
uh, the last question I have for you is: tell me about the non-technical aspect of the internship. Like, how was the office, the people interacting
Oh
with the
yeah.
team? Yeah,
Yeah, no, it was amazing actually. I honestly, this like I've never been to San Francisco for any sort of tech thing in my life, but this was definitely a really fun experience. Like, I don't know, the Sterling was like riding motorbikes in the alley. Everybody like came together to eat lunch. We all had like the confetti, went out for dinner, like made jokes, stuff like that. We were like talking about getting a ping pong table or something. Like that'd be pretty fun. And it was just a good vibe. Like seriously, like I mean, I'm not gonna try to like offend everybody in Seattle, but Seattle is like big tech and like you're in a cubicle and it's like you have like a monitor. Arcade, it's like you want to go for a walk, you want to like eat lunch together. It's just a fun, it's just a fun place. So yeah, I really loved it. I would honestly like that was actually my main influence for why I wanted to apply to Berkeley is because like California, like it's just it's the whole package. You get fun, you get tech, you get network. It's everything in one. So yeah, I really loved it. Huge shout out to everybody at Arcade, by the way, for making it super fun. um,
amazing.
I love to come back. Basically, that's what I want to say.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Right. So, do you have anything else that you have in mind that I didn't ask?
No, not really. I wanted to mention you brought up now that you mentioned the cron job thing a little bit earlier. I did forget to talk about the fact that I did spend like a whole week trying to figure out how to get the ambient portion of the agent because that'd be a really big step up. But I mean, yeah, it was still good to like find a workaround that works just for me. Just set the cron job, it'll do the thing.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Isa, and I hope to see you soon in Arcade at some point. Yeah,
Yeah. No, I'll definitely try to make it back next summer or something for sure. And then we can run the whole thing back for sure.
absolutely. See you, buddy.
Hey, see you, Mateo.